Okay, let's jump right in, because right now there is a massive, high-stakes mystery unfolding in the economy. Are companies inadvertently automating themselves into an economic corner? Today, in this explainer, we're going to unpack a really fascinating piece of research by Brett Hemingway-Falk and Jerry Tukalas called the AI layoff trap. It's essentially a deep dive into the core premise of what actually happens when artificial intelligence displaces human workers way faster than the economy can reabsorb them. We're going to map out exactly how this dynamic works step by step to show why completely rational firms might literally be engineering their own demise.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's super easy to feel a sense of déjà vu here, right? We've been terrified of machines taking our jobs since the 1800s. We saw it with David Ricardo way back in 1821 and John Maynard Keynes in 1930, warning everybody about technological unemployment during the Industrial Revolution. But historically speaking, this displacement has largely been self-correcting. We always seem to find new things for humans to do. So the natural question is, why on earth should we treat the age of AI as a unique threat compared to every other major technological leap?
Well, economists Acemoglu and Restrepo actually have a name for our historical safety net. They call it the reinstatement effect. Think about it like this. When tractors displaced farmers, it was incredibly disruptive, no doubt. But it simultaneously created entirely new industries. Those former farmers eventually found work in manufacturing, maybe building the very tractors that displaced them, or taking on brand new administrative roles. Automation destroys specific jobs, sure, but it created enough new tasks and occupations to balance out the labor market. But, and here's the kicker, this new research suggests that our historical safety net is currently failing to keep pace. Displacement has massively intensified over the last 4 decades, and new work just isn't filling the gap fast enough. Because unlike physical machines, this current wave of AI is hitting cognitive tasks, middle management, and entry-level knowledge workers disproportionately hard. And it's happening at a speed we just haven't seen before.
Which brings us to the absolutely terrifying core paradox of this research. Because even if that historical reinstatement effect does eventually kick in, we have a massive, immediate problem along the way. Displaced workers are also consumers. It's the basic circular flow of the economy. If firms fire a huge portion of their workforce to maximize productivity and cut costs, well, those displaced workers lose their incomes. And when that lost income isn't replaced quickly with new jobs, the purchasing power that all firms depend on to sell their goods, it just evaporates. Taken to the absolute logical limit, firms automate their way to boundless, frictionless productivity, but they end up falling right off a cliff of zero consumer demand. I mean, you can produce a million widgets for pennies, but it absolutely doesn't matter if nobody has a paycheck to actually buy them. And this isn't just some theoretical academic exercise. The data shows us exactly how fast we are sprinting toward that cliff. Just look at the year 2025 alone. 1 million. That is the staggering number of U.S. job cuts announced by employers in just a single 12-month span. Think about that for a second. That is a massive, immediate hit to aggregate consumer purchasing power, basically draining billions of dollars of potential spending out of the economy in a very short amount of time.
Digging into those 2025 numbers a bit more, roughly 55,000 of those job cuts explicitly cited artificial intelligence as the primary reason for the layoffs. And what's really wild here is the specific target of these cuts. They were heavily concentrated in the tech sector, customer support, content moderation, and crucially, middle management. We're talking about white-collar roles that historically felt completely 100% safe from the threat of automation. AI isn't just some abstract concept for the future anymore, it is a current, active driver of workforce displacement right now.
And CEOs aren't even trying to hide this shift either. Take Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Block. In February 2026, Block cut nearly half of its 10,000-person workforce. Dorsey explicitly stated that AI made those roles unnecessary, and he boldly predicted that within a year, the majority of companies would reach the exact same conclusion and follow suit. It's literally becoming a standard corporate playbook.
You know, the sheer scale of exposure here is what turns a corporate trend into a full-blown economic threat. Researchers, Alaundo and colleagues, estimate that a massive 80% of U.S. workers hold jobs with tasks that are directly exposed to large language models. 80%. This isn't isolated to a few niche industries or specific factory floors. The vast majority of the modern knowledge workforce is vulnerable. And obviously, if the vast majority of the workforce is vulnerable, it means the vast majority of consumer demand is vulnerable too.
So we are already seeing the macro warning signs flashing red. The strain is highly visible in the Q1 2026 data. Business investment actually overtook consumer spending as the leading contributor to U.S. GDP growth. And at the exact same time, the personal savings rate dropped to 3.6%, which is its lowest level since late 2022. So what's happening? Businesses are aggressively hoarding capital and funneling money into AI automation to gain an edge, while everyday consumers are draining their savings just to stay afloat. The consumer base is getting squeezed from both sides.
This brings us to a massive behavioral paradox. Because none of what we've discussed so far is a secret, everyone sees the data. So the authors pose a really crucial question. If firing workers destroys the very customer base you need to survive, why keep doing it? If the cliff ahead is visible to all, why would completely rational, forward-looking firms race toward it? We so often treat this like an unstoppable technological train, but shouldn't highly rational businesses act as the natural brake to protect their own long-term interests?
And here is the real aha moment of the research. It's a counterintuitive economic trap rooted entirely in market competition. See, when a single firm automates a task and fires a worker, that specific firm captures 100% of the labor cost savings. It is a massive, immediate, private benefit to their bottom line. But what about the private cost? The lost consumer demand from that unemployed worker? That single firm only bears a tiny fraction of that pain. Why? Because that displaced worker bought groceries, clothes, and electronics from hundreds of different companies. Their lost spending is distributed across all the firm's competitors in the broader market.
Because of this massive disconnect between who gets the savings and who feels the pain, we end up with what the authors call the automation arms race. Think of it like this. If Company A realizes this is ultimately bad for the economy and decides to hit pause on automation to save consumer demand, Company B will simply automate anyway, steal all the cost savings, lower their prices, and completely wipe Company A right out of the market. It's a classic prisoner's dilemma, because every firm captures the full cost saving but shares the macroeconomic pain of lost demand. The rational move for any individual company is to automate as fast as possible. This demand externality traps completely rational companies into individually self-destructive behavior. Foresight alone simply cannot prevent the race toward the cliff, because the competitive market literally forces them to keep running. So what you really should take away from this is that nobody wins in the long run. This over-automation isn't just a simple transfer of wealth from middle-class workers to wealthy firm owners. It's fundamentally a deadweight loss for the entire economy. Workers lose their incomes and their livelihoods, obviously, but because this collective, market-wide displacement erodes overall consumer demand so severely, it ultimately harms the firm owners and eats into their aggregate profits as well. Even with perfect foresight, a fragmented market pushes companies to displace workers well beyond what is collectively optimal for their very own bottom lines.
Since the loss heavily impacts both sides of the equation, workers and firm owners alike, the natural next question is, how do we fix a market failure where literally everyone loses? The authors of the research rigorously evaluate several policy instruments to figure this out, but as you'll see, standard fixes cannot easily shut down this deeply ingrained competitive incentive.
Let's quickly look at why some of the most common policy proposals actually fail to stop the arms race. First up, Universal Basic Income, or UBI. While UBI does raise the floor on living standards and helps displaced workers survive, it leaves the exact same automation incentive in place for the firm. The company still saves 100% on labor costs, so they are going to keep automating. Upskilling and worker equity participation? They might narrow the wealth gap a tiny bit, but they don't eliminate the core incentive to replace human tasks with AI. What about capital income taxes? Well, they fail because they just operate on overall corporate profit levels. They don't change the specific per-task mathematical margin that causes a firm to choose a machine over a human. Finally, Gaussian bargaining, which is basically voluntary agreements among firms to limit automation, completely fails because automation remains a dominant competitive strategy. The moment one firm cheats on the agreement, they win. So no voluntary pact is ever self-enforcing. Ultimately, none of these well-meaning policies actually fix the core demand externality.
So what actually works? The research points to a very specific solution: a Pigouvian automation tax. Now, this isn't just a general blanket tax on robots or software. Not at all. It is a highly targeted tax set exactly equal to the uninternalized demand loss per automated task. Just like a carbon tax makes a factory pay for the pollution it dumps into the air, this automation tax makes a company pay for the consumer demand it removes from the economy. By making companies feel the true, full cost of the lost consumer demand right on their own balance sheets, it forces private incentives to align with collective survival. Plus, the revenue from this specific tax could be used to fund massive worker retraining programs, which replaces lost income, meaning the tax could dynamically adjust and eventually become self-limiting over time as the workforce adapts. As AI capabilities rapidly improve every single month, the financial incentive to automate only amplifies, worsening this potential deadweight loss. The research makes one thing incredibly clear: Merely dealing with the aftermath of AI labor displacement just isn't going to be enough. We have to address the underlying, cutthroat competitive incentives driving it in the first place. So, will our economic policies evolve to manage this demand externality before rational businesses blindly compete their way right over the cliff? That is the billion-dollar question we all have to answer. Thanks for exploring this with me, and keep questioning the systems around you.